Born in 153 AC during the reign of his great-uncle Aegon III, Daeron Targaryen was the son of Prince Aegon and Princess Nerys, the children of the king's younger brother Viseris. Though not in the immediate line of succession, Daeron eventually became heir to the Iron Throne after several short-lived reigns over the next 20 years. Known as the Dragonbane because the last of the dragons died under his rule, Aegon III was succeeded by his son Daeron I, who attempted to conquer Dorne but was instead defeated and killed. Daeron was succeeded by his younger brother Baelor the Blessed, a humble and pious worshipper of the 7 new gods, who ended the war and established peace through a marriage pact, wedding the Prince of Dorne's sister Mirria Martell to his cousin's son Daeron Targaryen in 170 AC. A religious extremist devoted to self-deprivation, Baelor died in 171 AC, allegedly from starvation after fasting for 40 days, though some claim he was poisoned by his uncle Viserys, who feared his nephew might plunge the realm into civil war by attempting to force conversion onto the Northerners who still worshipped the old gods, and Ironborn who worshipped the drowned god. A wise and experienced administrator that served as hand of the king under the last 3 rulers, Viserys II did all he could to improve the realm, establishing a new royal mint, increasing trade, and revising their code of laws. Yet his reign was cut short when he suddenly fell ill and died only a year later in 172 AC, once again prompting rumors the king was poisoned, this time by his own son Prince Aegon, who brazenly lusted for wealth and power. Uninterested in governing the realm, Aegon indulged in women, wine, and food, famed for his gluttonous and dishonorable behavior, often cruel to his sister wife Nerys, while fathering many bastard children on women across the continent. Remembered as Aegon the Unworthy, many of his more senseless and irrational whims were opposed by his son and heir, Daeron Targaryen, who had far more in common with his grandfather than father. Yet not even Daeron could stop the king from attempting 2 more invasions of Dorne in 174 AC, as Aegon IV served in the conquest of Dorne years earlier and had a deep hatred for the southern realm. Fortunately for Westeros, the first attempt ended when a terrible storm wiped out the Targaryen fleet, while the second failed due to the king's incompetence, as he ordered the creation of 7 mechanical siege engines shaped like dragons and fitted with pumps that shot wildfire, only for them to explode while en route to Dorne, killing hundreds of their own men and burning a quarter of the Kingswood. Embarrassed by his failures and angry over the constant opposition he faced from his own son, many believe it was Aegon IV who instructed Sir Morgul Hastewick to accuse Queen Nerys of infidelity in order to question Daeron's legitimacy and replace him as heir, possibly with the king's bastard son Daemon Blackfyre, a great warrior who was gifted the Valyrian steel sword Blackfire, once held by Aegon the Conqueror. Yet the king's brother, Aemon the Dragon Knight, would not tolerate such accusations against his beloved sister Nerys, and so he challenged, defeated, and killed Sir Morgul in a trial by combat. Following the death of Queen Nerys in childbirth, and Aemon, who died defending the king from an assassination attempt, Aegon IV did not mourn them, and instead dishonored their memory by spreading more rumors that they had an affair that resulted in the birth of Daeron. Yet the king did not ultimately act on the desire to disinherit his son, likely fearing a prolonged war since Daeron had the support of Dorne through his marriage to Mirria Martell. Despite living a life of greed and excess, the greatest damage to the realm came from his deathbed in 184 AC, when Aegon IV legitimized all his bastard-born children, thereby sowing the seeds of division and civil war through an inevitable confrontation over the succession. Nevertheless, upon hearing word of the king's passing, Daeron immediately traveled to the capital and donned the same bejeweled crown as his father, hoping to link their reigns and quash any rumors of his illegitimate birth. Yet as a ruler, Daeron II was the total opposite of his father, proving an intelligent and progressive man of peace, more comfortable around maesters and scholars than warriors. Eventually known as Daeron the Good, he replaced the small council with wise and capable administrators, reformed the city watch to reduce corruption, and completed his father's agreement with the Archon of Tyrosh, paying a dowry so his bastard brother Daemon Blackfyre could marry Rohan of Tyrosh, after which he gifted them a tract of land near the Blackwater Rush. Despite the potential problems he might face from the legitimized bastard children of the deceased king, Daeron accepted the decision and ensured each of the noble-born great bastards received incomes befitting their station. Yet his most significant accomplishment came from arranging another marriage alliance with Dorne, wedding his sister Daenerys to Prince Meryn Martell in 187 AC, who then swore an oath of fealty which finally unified the Seven Kingdoms under House Targaryen. In addition to allowing the Lord of Dorne to keep the title Prince, they were granted special privileges like the ability to collect taxes with minimal oversight. To celebrate this unification, Daeron ordered the construction of Summerhall near the Dornish border to serve as a summer home for House Targaryen. Already angered by the Dornish influence of Queen Myrria upon the royal court, many in Westeros were further outraged by unification, having no desire for peace, and instead wanting retribution for all those who died in the last Dornish war. As rumors still circled about Daeron's true parentage, many Westerosi lords and knights flocked to the banner of Daemon Blackfyre. A charming, charismatic, honorable, and valiant warrior, beloved by friends and respected by enemies, Daemon held his own grudge against the king, as he had been in love with his half-sister Daenerys, but was forced to part from her when she was wed to the Prince of Dorne. Nicknamed the King Who Bore the Sword, his most fervent supporter was his half-brother Aegor Rivers, another of the great bastards who had a deep personal hatred for their sibling Brynden Rivers, also called Bloodraven, who sided with King Daeron. By 196 AC, the conflict at last erupted into the First Blackfyre Rebellion, culminating at the Battle of the Redgrass Field, where Daemon Blackfyre famously defeated Sir Gawain Corbray after an hour-long duel. Due to the claimant king's sense of honor, he ordered his opponent's wounds treated. However, this act of chivalry gave time for the archer company of Brynden Rivers to rain fire arrows upon them, killing Daemon Blackfyre as well as his eldest sons, Aegon and Aemon. Defeated, Aegor Rivers rallied the remnants of the Blackfyre army and led the retreat, boarding ships to seek refuge in Essos, where he founded the mercenary Golden Company, in the hopes of one day returning to Westeros to defeat House Targaryen. Taking hostages and stripping the vanquished lords of titles, castles, and lands, Daeron the Good eventually reconciled the divided continent, bringing forth many years of peace and plenty, while securing the succession through his children, Baelor Breakspear, Aerys, Rhaegal, and Maekar. Unfortunately for the king and realm, his eldest son and heir, Baelor Breakspear, said to be the soul of chivalry and honor, was killed participating in a trial by 7 during the Tourney of Ashford, when he fought on behalf of Sir Duncan the Tall, a young knight accused of treason for defending a Dornish peasant woman against the abuses of Prince Maekar's son, Aerion Brightflame. Realizing Sir Duncan acted valiantly, Baelor Breakspear took up arms against his own brother and nephews in defense of the Hedge Knight, and while they won the contest, Baelor was struck with a blow so hard he died shortly after. Though Duncan felt guilty for his death, he earned the respect of House Targaryen, and so was allowed to mentor Maekar's youngest son Aegon, nicknamed Egg, taking him on as a Hedge Knight's squire so he might become a better man than his brothers by learning humility and the struggles of common folk. Remembered as one of the finest kings in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, Daeron the Good died alongside his grandsons Valar and Materys during the Great Spring Sickness of 209 AC, and so was succeeded by his second-born son Aerys Targaryen, a bookish, scholarly man who left the administration of the realm to the great bastard Bloodraven, serving as Hand of the King. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Pete J. King, Daedry Dragonswit, Delacruz the Freed, and Barian the Soft Bastard Beesbury. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.